Welcome to Royal Daily Report, your #1 source for exclusive royal news and insider stories. I'm bringing you a breaking investigation that will shock you to your core. Make sure to subscribe to Royal Daily Report and turn on notifications so you never miss our explosive reports. There are laughs, and then there are British lawyer laughs, the kind of laugh that's loud, sharp, and just a little annoyed, like someone heard a joke that was cute, but totally unrealistic. That was the reaction spreading through legal circles when word got out that Meghan Markle was supposedly preparing to sue the British Crown if her Duchess of Sussex title was taken away. Yes, that crown. Not a company, not a celebrity, not a studio boss you can threaten with lawyers and bad press. We're talking about an institution that's been around longer than most countries. So when the idea came up that an American actress might drag the monarchy into court, the reaction wasn't fear, it was laughter. Because two British legal minds, suing the crown is about as possible as suing the weather for raining on your wedding day. You can be upset about it, you can complain, but you can't take it to court. And yet, according to insiders close enough to the palace walls to hear the whispers, Meghan was dead serious. Not joking, not pretending, serious enough to supposedly say she'd even go after Prince William himself once he becomes king. Now, stop for a second and let that sink in. An American citizen threatening legal action against the future King of England over a title she only has because she married into the family. It sounds dramatic because it is dramatic. But here's the twist. This wasn't arrogance. It wasn't delusion. It was panic wearing high heels. If you're shocked by this revelation, you need to subscribe to Royal Daily Report right now. We're exposing what others won't. Because when people feel truly powerful, they don't threaten lawsuits. They don't shout. They don't flail. They sit back and smile. And Meghan wasn't smiling. To understand why Meghan reacted this way, you have to understand how she sees her title. In Meghan's mind, Duchess of Sussex isn't something that was loaned to her. It's something she believes she owns, like personal property, like a brand she built herself. She treats it the way celebrities treat trademarks. Once it's yours, no one gets to touch it. That's why the idea of the crown taking it back feels impossible to her. Because she doesn't see the monarchy as the owner. She sees herself as the final authority over the name, the image, and the power attached to it. To Meghan, that title is her armor. It's what protects her when she walks into rooms full of powerful people. It's what turns phone calls into opportunities and interviews into global headlines. It's the reason doors open before she even knocks. Without that title, she's not a special guest. She's not royal connected. She's just Meghan. And that terrifies her. Because the Duchess title isn't just a label she uses, it's the foundation of her entire public identity. Her charities use it, her projects lean on it, her introductions are wrapped in it. Every time her name appears next to that title, it adds weight she didn't have before. So when whispers started floating around that King Charles might one day review or even remove certain royal titles, Meghan didn't hear politics. She heard a threat to her existence. Stay with Royal Daily Report. We're just getting started. Don't forget to subscribe. Here's the part people forget. Meghan lived 37 years without royal sparkle. She wasn't born into palaces. She wasn't raised with crowns and curtsies. She built a modest career, worked hard, and carved out a name that mattered, but only within limits. Then she married Prince Harry, and overnight, her life exploded. She didn't just gain a husband. She gained global relevance. Cameras followed her everywhere. Media treated her like royalty because she was. The title didn't just sit on her shoulder. It wrapped around her like a designer coat and instantly made her bigger, shinier, and more important. Half Hollywood, half royal, a branding dream. And Meghan didn't just wear that title. She built her entire empire on it. Every deal, every red carpet, every glossy magazine cover, they all relied on one thing, that she was a duchess. Now imagine that disappearing. No title, no royal glow, no instant prestige. Suddenly, she's not a global figure with royal gravity. She's a former actress trying to hold on to relevance in a brutal industry that eats yesterday's stars for breakfast. That's the fear. Not losing love, not losing marriage, not even losing money, losing status. And when people are afraid of falling back to where they started, they don't play calmly, which is exactly where this story truly begins. This is Royal Daily Report, bringing you the truth. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what's coming next. This is where fantasy crashes straight into cold royal reality. Because no matter how Meghan feels about her title, the monarchy does not run on feelings. It runs on rules. Ancient, unbending, very unemotional rules. Here's the simplest way to understand it. Royal titles are not handbags. You don't buy them. You don't earn them. And you definitely don't own them. A royal title is a permission slip. When Queen Elizabeth made Prince Harry the Duke of Sussex on his wedding day, that title didn't belong to Meghan. It belonged to Harry. Meghan only received it because she married the man who actually had royal blood. It was a courtesy title. A +1 title, A, comes with the husband situation. Think of it like borrowing your friend's jacket. You can wear it, you can look good in it, people might even compliment you on it. But at the end of the day, it's not yours, and the owner can ask for it back. And here's the part that matters most. That permission can be removed with one signature from one person, the reigning monarch. No debate, no court case, no negotiation. The crown doesn't explain itself, it simply decides. So while Meghan may believe her Duchess title is permanent, the truth is much colder. It exists only as long as the monarchy allows it to exist, and marriage is the thread holding it together. Once that thread starts to fray, everything else becomes unstable. If Meghan ever needed proof that the crown means business, it came wrapped in one very public downfall. Prince Andrew, born royal, raised in palaces, bloodline so blue it practically glowed. And yet, with one decision from the monarchy, his royal life collapsed. Titles stripped, duties erased, status gone. No long negotiations, no emotional appeals, no special protection. That moment sent a message, and it wasn't subtle. If the crown can do this to a blood prince, it can do it to anyone. And Meghan heard that message loud and clear. Because, unlike Andrew, her title isn't tied to her birth. It isn't woven into centuries of ancestry. It exists purely because of marriage, and marriages can end. Keep watching Royal Daily Report for more shocking revelations. Subscribe now. What Andrew's fall revealed was terrifyingly simple. Royal power is not sentimental. Royal power is not personal. Royal power is fast, cold, and absolute. And if Andrew's crown could shatter that easily, Meghan's was never solid to begin with. It was glass, beautiful, shiny, and dangerously fragile. That's when fear stops being theoretical and starts becoming urgent. This is the part that made British lawyers laugh the hardest. Because Meghan threatening to sue the monarchy isn't just bold, it's legally impossible. Let's explain this like you're 10 years old. You can't sue the king. Not in the UK, not in the US, not anywhere. Why? Because of something called sovereign immunity. Big fancy words. Simple meaning. The king is the law. And you can't sue the person who writes the rules in the court that follows those rules. It's like trying to sue your school principal in the principal's office using the principal's rulebook. It doesn't work. And in America, even worse, a US court has zero authority over the internal decisions of a foreign monarchy. Royal titles aren't contracts. They aren't property. They aren't trademarks or business assets. They're symbolic honors, gifts from the crown, and you cannot turn a gift into a lawsuit. Any judge would take one look and say, case dismissed. Next, which means when Meghan reportedly said, no one is taking my title away, she may not have realized the truth. They already can. They always could, and they don't need permission. That's why the lawyers laughed. Not because Meghan isn't smart, not because she isn't ambitious, but because the crown doesn't argue, it decides. This is Royal Daily Report, exposing the truth behind the palace walls. Hit that subscribe button now. Here's the uncomfortable truth sitting at the center of this entire story. Meghan's empire was not built from scratch. It was built on borrowed ground. Every glossy deal, every red carpet appearance, every carefully planned interview leaned on one thing, that royal title. Netflix didn't just sign Meghan Markle. They signed Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. Media outlets didn't just invite an actress. They invited a royal-adjacent figure, dripping in prestige. Her foundation didn't speak as a private citizen. It spoke as a duchess. Her statements didn't land as opinions. They landed as royal commentary. That title added gravity to everything, and without it, the entire structure wobbles. Because here's the part nobody likes to say out loud. Hollywood is ruthless. Attention is currency. And Royal Sparkle buys a lot more attention than former actress with opinions. Without that title, Meghan doesn't disappear, but she shrinks. And shrinking is not an option when your entire public life depends on being bigger than the room. This is why the idea of losing the title doesn't just scare her. It threatens the foundation of everything she's built since leaving the palace. Strip away the romance, the interviews, the fairy tale language, and one truth remains. Harry was the gateway, not to love, to power. It was Harry's bloodline that unlocked the palace doors. Harry's name that carried centuries of weight. Harry's position that transformed Meghan overnight from actress to global figure. Without Harry, there is no Duchess of Sussex. That doesn't mean the marriage was fake. It means it was functional, strategic, transformational. It elevated her in ways no Hollywood role ever could. But here's the catch. What marriage gives, marriage can also take away. Once divorce enters the picture, the gateway narrows, the protection weakens, the title becomes vulnerable. And Meghan knows this now in a way she didn't at the beginning. She understands the mechanics, which means any future exit must be controlled, calculated, protected. You don't walk away from a power source without securing the next one. Royal Daily Report is your only source for these insider truths. Subscribe and stay informed. This is where money quietly enters the room, not as romance but as insulation. Because when status is at risk, wealth becomes armor. A billionaire doesn't just bring luxury. A billionaire brings independence, private jets, private worlds, private protection from irrelevance. When royal power fades, financial power becomes the next best thing. This isn't about chasing men, it's about securing stability, because admiration from powerful people replaces the validation once provided by the crown. Wealth fills the silence where royal doors once opened automatically, and influence doesn't disappear. It simply changes form. If the monarchy was step 1, money is step 2. And once that shift happens, divorce stops being dangerous. It becomes manageable. Here's the final truth, tying this entire story together. Meghan doesn't fear divorce. She fears becoming irrelevant. She fears the slow fade, fewer invitations, quieter phones, softer headlines. She fears slipping back into a version of herself the world no longer rushes to hear from. That's why power must transfer, not vanish. The crown once gave her elevation. Marriage sustained it. And now, the future demands a new source of gravity, something louder than royalty, something richer than tradition. Because once you've lived at the top, falling quietly is not an option. So if divorce comes, it won't come as a collapse. It will come as a pivot, carefully timed, carefully protected, carefully powered. Because Meghan didn't escape the palace to disappear. She escaped it to negotiate power on her own terms. And that more than love, more than lawsuits, more than titles, is the real story. That's all for today's exclusive report on Royal Daily Report. The truth is out there, and we're bringing it to you. If you enjoyed this investigation, make sure you subscribe to Royal Daily Report. Hit the like button and share this video with everyone who needs to know the truth. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. Until next time, this is Royal Daily Report, signing off.